it's like having a broken leg, and then, you know, the doctor's like, okay, well, your left leg is broken, but I'm gonna cast your arms, your other leg, your neck, and I'm gonna put a back brace on, and you're sitting there like, why? The rest of my body is fine. It's just my left leg that's broken. And that's the same thing about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is the broken left leg. Everything else is okay. And you need to help build up that part of society up to the level of where everybody else is at.
So it is good to hear that, that there is support for what is going on around the world, and I think that it is something though that it has to be more than just marches and protests, and I do not condone the violence, although I understand it, but it has to be more than that. Action now has to come about, when it comes to political action. But after a while, though, I think when you look at what is happening, it is becoming quite significant because more and more people beginning to wake up as to many of the social inequities that we have in this country.
So many people think it's just the police department. Well, it could come in a number of different ways when it comes to institutional racism. It can come through teachers. It could come through local officials. There are a number and commissioners. Whoever's appointed to these positions, or whoever's going to be part of the civil service, would oftentimes carry out whatever that will or interest might be among the elected officials. So that's what's said in terms of when it comes to that kind of racism.
The one thing I would say is educate yourself, read books, watch documentaries, listen to podcasts, because even though you're one person, the way you view the world can change everybody around you.
What people don't understand about this is that, some people just deliberately do not understand because they're taking it like, well, Black lives are all that matters. When in fact, what it really means is Black lives matter as much as anyone else's life matters. This stuff was going on long before Donald Trump came along. But the person in the White House is very important when it comes to bringing calm and peace to a nation.
I would stress to anybody who's following politics, pay attention to what's going on absolutely at the state level in a place like Connecticut, because this is also the re-election and the first time election for a number of our General Assembly leaders. And that includes obviously our state senators and our state reps. And so every 2 years they have to get elected. So this is the time right now to see what are they going to be putting forward and working on this summer and certainly in the fall, even before election time, and certainly before the legislative session begins next year.
Barbers that cut hair have to do more training hours than an officer does, and I think that's a little ridiculous. I don't think they should be out on the streets protecting people, enforcing a law that they know nothing about. Lawyers go to school for 8+ years to learn the law, and officers only get 8 weeks of training to enforce it.
I know that certainly cable news is interesting, but it is highly partisan. It is highly charged. And I would stress instead, become a newspaper reader. I really, really would argue that.
We have to watch out for each other. We have to take care of each other. And I think that is the most important thing we can do.